Okay, we're going to take a look at Solana today and have a look at the key levels both to the upside and to the downside, and look at the key levels that we want to be buying at in areas of value. We'll also take a look at some of the short-term analysis to give us an idea of where the likely trend and the bias is in the short term. So let's get straight into it. If you like the video, obviously give it a thumbs up down below. These videos do take me a long time to go through all the key levels and create for you and all the editing. So like honestly, just a like really helps. You drop me a like down below. No, seriously, drop me a like down below. Now on the macro, okay, obviously Solana is creating higher highs. We can see here, okay, and we're creating higher lows. Okay, hopefully we can put in a higher low sometime in the near future. But that is the macro uptrend. Now, although we are in a macro uptrend, what you can see if I drop it down to the daily time frame, you probably don't need me to tell you or to be Gandalf to know that we have been in a systematic downtrend within an uptrend. Okay, so we're in a bearish phase within a larger bull phase. Okay, is that we've been creating higher or lower highs. And you can see here lower lows. Okay, so systematic downtrend until proven otherwise. So the bias at the moment has to be to the downside. Looking at some of the key weekly EMAs, we can see that we're under, okay, currently testing, but under the daily 21, and also currently under the weekly 21 EMA. Key areas that we want to be looking at for of value to the downside, okay, is going to be this area over here at about the $50 mark, and then below that we can see that we are getting like the ultimate strong support, big base at about $23. Like I said, not saying that we get there, but we want to mark out the key areas, okay? And above us, the overhead resistance is going to be somewhere in and around, let me just mark this in red, at about $130. And then obviously above that we're targeting all-time highs at about the $250 mark. And just so you know, obviously we're marking out the base here where we've got these big puncturing wicks down here at $23, $25, so that's going to be big strong support. Above that we should see a reaction if we get there at about $55 because that's targeting the recent last swing high, once we broke down from our $200 area. And then above us you can see that this is the area that we broke down from in January at about that 130 level, and as soon as we lost $115 we were going lower, so that's going to be that main area. And you can see here we've got multiple areas of price action that we need to overcome above us, and obviously above that is those all-time areas where we're getting price rejections at about 240, 250 and 230, so that red zone is basically the all-time high area. Now, bringing up our VPVR, we can also see that these areas are in confluent with those weekly and support resistance zones that we can see, okay, because we've got these areas of low volume at about 130 where we broke down from, because we obviously don't like to stay at prices for very long areas of low volume. We can see this area of low volume over here where we've bounced from is about that $80 mark, in confluence with this price action over here where we stalled briefly on the way from our parabolic move from $22 to about $250. So that's why we're stalling here. And then below that you can see that we have this other big area of low volume at about $50, so that's why we're marking that out. And then we've got another area over here at the $23. So like I said, we always want to mark out those key levels. They're the most important. Now, I'll leave these zones up, okay, and we're going to go through some of these shorter term price action that we can give us an indication of where Solana might be going, okay. So obviously at the minute we are stalling at the weekly 21 EMA, which is where we're at the moment. And also if we take this trend line over here from the swing high in September 21 and we just drop that down over here, you can see quite clearly that we have quite a few touch points over here, okay, and we're getting these multiple touch points where we retested this trend line and then eventually fell apart once we broke down, and again currently retesting this region over here. Now, the way that I'd be looking at Solana in the short to near term is all rallies, okay, are either going to be faded or they're going to be sold off, because that is the current trend for the moment. I think a more likely scenario in my opinion, it would be that Solana breaks the $80 level at some point, because maybe this is just an oversold bounce, okay? And then we essentially move lower. This area of $50, $55 is going to act as much stronger support, in my opinion, than $80. So if we do get some kind of price action where we drop below $80, and especially some sort of daily or weekly close below that, then you need to expect prices of $50, okay? Or even possibly below that. So just bear that in mind. Now, here's the scenario that I'd be looking for Solana. Is essentially, there's two bearish scenarios which are my most probable scenarios at the moment, which firstly is that we are at this trend line and the weekly 21, which I pointed out. And the more bearish scenario is essentially we just fall apart from here, maybe chop around, break down, and we just create this bear flag and then move down and puncture down over here. Okay, and then move down into that $50 where we would likely see support. Okay, and if that bearish scenario does not play out and the relief continues, okay, then we still have this area above us at about that 135, 130 level to contend with, which was the area that we broke down from to create this lower low. Now, we can also see that we had this head and shoulders pattern over here, which, by the way, I don't really play head and shoulders that much because they can fake you out. I've said that a number of times before, which you can see here. Okay, this sort of head and shoulders pattern, which basically is showing you that there's weakness in the market, right? But we did hit this to a T 1-to-1 at 1.618, sorry, down here at $80. But again, if we come up here and when we move into that $135, you need to be aware that the other scenario is that if we do break the trend line, okay, move above the daily EMA 21, then we've got this area to contend with where I think that we likely, retest this neckline of the head and shoulders, come into this weekly bearish order block over here. And that is also in confluence, if we check this out, with the weekly 21, which we haven't even tested yet since going below it. So maybe in a week or two over here at about, it could even come up as high as about 140, 145. And then from there, we basically get rejected, fall apart, and then move lower, okay? And that way, that would still maintain the integrity of the structure, okay, of the higher or the integrity of the structure of lower lows and lower highs, and that would be still my base case until proven otherwise. Okay, so that's the way that I'd be looking at the bearish scenarios. And for some reason, if 50 did not hold in the event of some sort of mega capitulation, then I think a go all-in approach would probably be at about that $25. But I do think, especially with the concept of time, that if we do move to $50, we'll likely see a bounce. If we move to $50 fairly quickly, and we move there within, let's say, the next month or the next few weeks, I do think that would be an excellent buying opportunity, at least for a tradable bounce at $50. So watch that level. Now, I'm not going to give you all doom and gloom, okay? I'm going to give you a little bit of a hopium in a minute, because I'm going to give you the case for the bull case, because nobody knows, right, where the fuck the bottom is, okay? No one can tell you of 100-degree certainty. All you can do is mark out the likely probabilities. I'm just saying that around here, okay, that this area of price action is not likely to be strong support. Stronger support is at $50, which is why that is the area I'm eyeing up. But if we want to see Solana bounce from here and create new highs, and for the low to be in, what we want to see is those areas reclaimed as support. So we want to flip the resistance as support, and what we do by doing that is that we clear that daily 21 and that trend line, and then we basically break into this price action over here at about $160, break this whole area, and then we want to come down here, flip this as support, retest that 130, 135 level, and then start moving higher from there, and then we can start to attack 220. And like I said, if that scenario does play out, I'm not sure when and exactly how that's going to play out, but that's the sort of structure that you want to see. And not only that, is that not only do you start to reclaim areas that were previously resistance as support, you then want to start knocking out these pivot highs over here and start to create higher highs and start to create that general uptrend. So that's basically what you're looking for if you're a bull on Solana from this moment. Now, we can create this structure by either moving up there now, or we can come down here to 50, I know I keep mentioning the 50 level, we can go lower, but I'm just giving you that the next area of logical, you know, support resistance, and then we could maybe base around and then retest this at a later point in time, and start to create this kind of structure, okay, where we eventually break that. I think that this scenario is a better scenario for Solana, in all honesty, where we come lower, base out, okay, let the big players accumulate. That's typically how bottoms form, okay, and then we spring higher. But eventually, whatever the bullish scenario is that we need to reclaim 130, use this as support, create higher highs and higher lows on the uptrend that we would be on, and then obviously knocking out the old highs and basically moving up from there. Okay, but you know, there's a lot of work to be done on Solana, so that area of 135 to be reclaimed, and then we can start talking about attacking that 250 mark and beyond. So those are my two base case scenarios on both the bear side and the bull side for Solana. Similarly, okay, what we're looking for is, remember, we're looking for confluence on the Solana BTC chart, okay? And you can see that the area that we broke down from at about that 33,000 sat level, okay, was the area that we broke down for 130. So you're like I said, these areas are likely to be confluent, but you can also, for me, add in areas of value on both the USD and the BTC chart. Better if they both line up, but you can see here, no surprise. Look where we've based out at the moment. Okay, we've seen, this is our, not only is this that price cluster that we looked at on the USD chart at about $80, okay, that we got back last summer, but also on the BTC chart, we've bottomed out at 24,000 sats, which was our weekly swing low before. So that's exactly where we're seeing support at the moment, okay? So when you're looking at the BTC chart, is that, you know, if we do reclaim some of these areas, this is also going to give you some indication, okay? So that we might be moving higher, okay? Is that, let's say, for example, we get to about 33,000 sats on Solana and we reclaim that and hold that for a week or two, okay, start to create a basing pattern here, then we can talk about moving higher. So similar kind of, you know, situation and pattern there. But again, if we knock out the lows of about 24,000 sats that we got back in November, back in October 21, and then we've just had this January, okay, then you need to expect lower prices. And below that, the real floor support, below that, there's not really much. There's just one big void over here. Is going to be somewhere between, you know, 13,000, 14,000 sats on Solana, okay? So that's the key area. Definitely over here, I'll be looking to get some really nice buys in, either exchanging your Bitcoin, okay, for Solana, or probably getting on a USD level. I imagine is going to give you some really nice risk reward and profitable trades to be had. So those are the key levels to look out for. Now we'll finish on some hopium and give you some price targets so we can look out to the eventual future, whether that is sometime now when we bounce and we move higher, or we form that base, like I said, which is more likely in my opinion, okay? But ultimately, what I am looking for is, I'm looking for an extension of this wave over here, of both waves, okay, from the absolute bottom in December, well, not the absolute bottom, but you know, the pivot low in December 20, and also the pivot low last summer. That both gives you a confluent target for me of looking for upside targets at the next level at about $4,000, at about $435, and about $1,100 as maybe an ultimate target. Now I think the Solana BTC chart is actually going to give us much better clues, okay, because we actually have a little bit more data from this, and the fibs definitely look a lot cleaner on the Solana BTC chart, where I think that you know, I'm seeing upside targets from at about 74,000, 77,000 sats, okay, if we take the major extension from you know, the absolute low in December 20 up to the peak in the summer and autumn of last year. And then even if we take the bottom from the last summer, again, we get some confluence at about that 73,000 to 74,000 sat level on Solana at the 1.618 extension. And then also, I think if we take the extension of the last major wave, you can see that again we're getting that 4.236, which is one that I commonly like to use for large wave extensions, is about that 63,000 sat level. So you can see and mark out these levels that somewhere in and around here, 65,000 sats to about, you know, 77, 80,000 sats, maybe anywhere in that range might be a good take profit zone. And again, you might find that that is confluent with about $430 and about $11,000 $1,100 on the Solana USD chart. So mark out those levels and just be aware of them. So I hope you got some value from the video, and that gives you a little bit more information about how to navigate and what to expect from Solana. Okay, like I said, these videos take me a long time to go through. I try to edit them in a way so that they are concise for you, and I get straight to the point, and I cut out all the shit and all the jargon, and just give you all the good stuff, and just give you the overall macro picture and you know, some of those key levels to look out for. So please like the video and subscribe down to the channel below if you want to see more of this content. I try to upload daily throughout the week, and until the next video, I'll catch you in the next one.